Hi guys, and in this video today we're going to be taking another look at ANKR and specifically the price action over the next little while. So guys, as we get into the video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you are new, subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so you will not miss another crypto update. Right, with all that said and done and out of the way, let's get into some technical analysis here for ANKR. So here we are. This is ANKR paired with the USDT. We're on the weekly chart because there's a couple of things I want to talk about here first, and then we obviously are on Binance. So if you guys want to actually replicate this, we are on TradingView. Binance is a data source, and you'll be able to do the rest yourself. Right. So the first thing we need to acknowledge, right, is obviously we're talking about going up another 600% from the current position. This is in line with our fifth wave. Okay. And again, this would be pretty significant gains, takes us to about 77 cents. Now with ANKR, I do think there's a theoretical push of pushing up towards that dollar level as well. And I think that's just a kind of psychological barrier. I don't think we're going to go much higher than that. So somewhere between 77 cents and $1 is where I feel we are likely to end here with, in the case of ANKR, right? So that's really important to acknowledge where we are going longer term. Now, the second thing I want to talk about here on this weekly chart is where we are now positioned in terms of our stochastic relative strength index. Now this is really important, guys, because we are just about to enter the overbought area for ANKR. Okay, so unlike some other cryptocurrencies that are just coming out of this area, we are seeing ANKR actually having significantly pushed up in terms of its stochastic relative strength index. Now, why is this important? Well, this is really important because we've come across resistance that we just haven't been able to break. And considering that we are pushing right the way up here, this is actually now indicative of a ABC correction wave, we could argue, on the weekly chart. This could then start to see ANKR fall down to some interesting low areas of accumulation before we actually go up and push the price to significant highs. Okay, so what I guess many people in the space might also commonly refer to as a bull trap or something to that effect. And we could be on about to witness a bit of a mass sell-off as we start to think about a correction down to the downside for ANKR. Now, where does this go? Well, we still have obviously our impulse waves to the upside, right? So if we were to see an ABC correction, where would it likely stop? Well, the first thing we have to acknowledge is for an Elliott theory, and basically these 5 impulse waves, the low wouldn't be any, you couldn't go lower than the top of wave 1, right? And now this is an interesting area for ANKR. Under this scenario, we basically find this is an area that we back tested on. So if we were to see a C correction, basically coming down to 1.9 cents seems like a pretty sensible area. Now, I'm not saying that this is a guaranteed scenario. I'm not saying that we are likely to see this actually happen. But considering that we are approaching the overbought area, we're up against major resistance here as we've been trying to battle our way through it for 4 weeks and failing. Ultimately, if we don't start to see some serious traction to the upside, it's very unlikely that we're going to continue that. And in fact, we're more than likely going to see a bit of a correction to the downside. So when we talk about an ABC, we are, of course, talking about this move coming down to here, pushing up to, let's say, that high there, and then coming down to about here. That would be completing your ABC correction. And then, of course, that would then put an interesting price prediction on where the end of the year would actually go, because under that scenario, the lower that you actually push down in this 4th wave, the higher the 5th wave is going to go to the upside. Okay, so although we've had a low down here, which is then predicting out the 77 cent, if we were to drop down to 1.9 cent, that would actually push this percentage gains much higher towards the end of the year. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just grab that Fibonacci retracement tool as well. Again, we'll just find that, yeah, Fib retracement. So what we'll do is we'll take it from that all-time high area there down to this area here. This actually puts it up at 88 cents. Okay, so if we were to see this C wave correction, we'll be taking our prediction from 77 cents up to 88 cents. Again, I still feel that that dollar level is something that we should be aiming for. I think that's a nice, comfortable area that we want to obviously acknowledge. Now, obviously, it's too soon to say for sure whether we are going to see a C wave come in, but I think we will be pretty obvious once we start to see a bit of a decline. If it takes out some of the key support areas, then that will be an area that we would want to basically come right in and consider the C wave correction, right? So that's going to come in about here, which would be, in our case, basically 0.086. So 8.6 cent seems to be the area that I would be concerned. If we lose that support, I would say that we're looking pretty bearish for a C correction before we actually start to really kickstart things back up again in the fifth wave. Now, historically speaking, many altcoins have had interesting Septembers, right? We've seen September being a pretty bad month for crypto and some of the history. So basically, I would be concerned that if we do lose that support, that we could see that C wave come in, taking Anchor down to lower lows overall. But again, there's a few areas of serious support on that journey. I've pulled out 1.9 cent as the worst case scenario. There's no guarantee that that will even come in, even if we do start to come down. There's interesting support at 6.6 and 4.1 cent. And again, this is the area of accumulation that I kind of been working towards during this fourth wave correction. So if we do see a C correction, I'll be really looking for these key areas to see if we do actually have that really come in nice around here, or if we do actually have an extension and go a little bit deeper. Now, the low, in my opinion, 1.9, but again, there's no guarantee of these corrections coming in at all. We could continue to trade sideways whilst correcting this weekly chart. Now, obviously, this is just a weekly, so when we should get down into our daily, we do see a slightly different pattern. And this is why we could actually start to see a significant push to the upside and actually not see a C wave correction at all. In this scenario, we see that the stochastic relative strength index is all the way down here, close to the oversold area, which means there's huge potential to grow back to the upside. Likewise, if we were to see a correction come in for a C wave, there's not too much room to fall from here. So ultimately, we could actually find good support at 6.6 or even 4.1 cent. Rather than going down all the way to 1.9. So where we are right now is actually a pretty good indication of actually pushing the price back to the upside, finding good support. Maybe we'll actually come up to this area here of the 618 and get a rejection from there. Getting a rejection from there should hopefully push us back down to a pretty reasonable area whilst correcting our weekly chart. That would actually help us significantly on a C wave correction and ultimately potentially eradicate the scenario altogether. So again, it's important that although there are indicators out there and things starting to form these patterns, they do not always play out. And it's important that we actually focus in on what a key support and resistance lines actually are, and we use those in conjunction with our indicators. So right now, interesting things are happening here on the daily. We're finding the resistance for the most part here on the Fibonacci retracement zone of the 382. Okay, that's the main area of resistance for us at the moment. That's actually 11.2, right? That's where we've been wicking to. That's been wicking around this area here for sideways trading on the daily chart. So this is where area of main concern, right? We're finding this resistance, but we are in a pretty good position here in terms of our stochastic on the daily. Now, when we actually drop down into the hourly, again, this is actually very much in line with what is going on with our daily chart, right? On the hourly, we're right down here in the oversold area. We are looking to push the price back to the upside. There's only a certain amount of room left to go down here. We're actually at 12 on this stochastic, so only goes down to 0, right? So 0 is absolute 0. So from there, we'll be looking to push to the upside. So the hourly is very much aligned to the daily. The one that's out of sync at the moment is really the weekly. The weekly is the one that's going to be looking for a correction in the next couple of weeks. So again, we can enjoy a bit of a push to the upside if we can get past that resistance. If we can't get past the resistance, there's only so many times you can test it before you do get a serious rejection. And once we get that rejection, we should start to see a correction come in. And obviously, during that correction, there will be a fantastic opportunity to dollar cost average a better position and to extend as we go into the second half, or to try to close the second half of the year. As we close Q4, will be a fantastic high for Anchor. I am incredibly bullish on this project still. I still do think we have some serious gains to be made. And again, it's just important that we I do acknowledge that nothing moves in straight lines. We do see corrections and we do see corrective waves inside our bullish waves as well. So it's important that we do acknowledge what is going on there. But on the short term, guys, I am thinking the price is moving up. On the medium term, it looks like the price is moving up. And it's just that kind of longer term piece we do need to see a correction come in for within the next kind of few weeks to a month or so. So again, watch that space. Historically speaking, September has been the month for corrections. So we'll be mindful over that as we kind of finish off August here. Guys, if you have found this video on Anchor useful and informative, do go ahead and hit that like button. I really do appreciate that. If you are new, do subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and you will not miss another Anchor update. Guys, with this said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.